Thanks for clicking. My name is Mark Mitchell. I'm a mortgage broker here in London, Ontario. Today I wanted to go over some of the recent data came out about London, Ontario's real estate market and look over how much you would need to make to afford some of our condos and our apartments here in London. We've gone over a few videos on this channel, how for the first time ever last year, the average household income in London was no longer enough to buy the average house in London. Our average household income is $111,250, and that will buy you a house with minimum down payment and no debt of about $520,000. Whereas last month, our average home price was a little over $620,000. So the average household income no longer buys the average single-family detached home. I wanted to take a look at the listings for condos and for apartments, just to see how much is needed to make to purchase those types of properties. There's a lot of people out there who've been actually shut out of the housing market just because of our rising house prices, which has been detailed in a lot of our headlines lately. So with that in mind, I thought it worth it to see if there were some other options available to people in the condo and apartment market. So we'll just go over some of the data on the condos and apartments. We'll take a look at realtor.ca to see what we can buy for those average house prices or average condo and apartment prices. And then we'll end off with some tips about not only how to go about buying one of these condos or apartments in London, but also what we're looking at for the future of real estate in London and what the trends are kind of showing us. So as much as headlines have been made about the single-family detached homes going up and up in price, the condo market has actually gotten even more fierce. Now, calculating the mortgage for a condo is a little bit different than a house because we have to incorporate condo fees. The lenders want to see how much the fees are, and they'll use half of those fees in your debt ratios to see what your mortgage affordability is. So I just want to do a quick search here on realtor.ca, something between around $465,000, and we see this property come up on Wellington Street, on Windermere. So the price of this property is $469,900. With $412 a month condo fees. If we look at this and we go minimum down payment to amortize over 25 years using the qualifying rate of 5.25, you would need to have an average household income of $110,000. That's with zero debt and minimum down payment requirements. So it's not a whole lot less than the $111,250. That's our average household income, but it is less. It is the average income can get into this average townhouse here in London. So that's definitely some positive news for people looking to upgrade and get out of the rental market and move into a purchase with minimum down payment requirements. With that said, let's also look at the apartment buildings available, just to see what we can get in London on the apartment side. Townhouse might be out of range for some people in the market who still want to be able to buy a property. So let's just do a quick search looking at the data on apartments. So the average apartment in June sold for $278,000 according to Telstar. So if we plug that into the computer, into realtor.ca, just to see what's available, we see this apartment available on Commissioners Road, asking price $269,900, so fairly close to the average price of an apartment in London, with condo fees just over $320. So if we plug this in using 25-year amortization, zero debt, and 5.25 qualifying interest rate, you would need a average household income of $65,000. So $65,000, and you can buy the average apartment in London. Again, it's not a single family detached, and obviously wouldn't be right for everybody, but we do see that there is a possibility to get onto the property ladder right here on Commissioners Road for the well below the average household income. Now I realize that's a one bedroom, but still well below the average household income does buy you an apartment condominium in London. So if you take a look at these townhouses and maybe even the apartments, there is a availability to get into the market, the real estate market, without having to break the bank, and you'll still be able to put your down payment down, gain equity over the future, and then in a few years the idea would be to sell it, take the equity that you gained and put it down towards another single family home. It's not it won't work for everybody in every situation, but it is definitely an option that's worth considering, especially if those single family home prices are just a little bit too much out of budget. So it's definitely something to consider for the future. So if you do want to get into the condo and apartment market, best idea is to get your pre-approvals in place. You're going to want to have your letter of employment, recent pay stub, and last 2 years T4s to get an official something on paper mortgage pre-approval that you can take to the bank, so to say. And then once you have that pre-approval in place, you call your real estate agent, and then you're free to go shopping. And then after that, you put in your offer on your house, and or you put your offer in on the property, and hopefully it gets accepted. So in conclusion, the apartments and condos in London are still below the average household income in London. So buying an apartment condo or a townhouse, it could be definitely a viable option for some people out there where the single family detached homes are just a little bit out of reach. I know a lot of people have been wondering if London's housing market is going to crash, because we are seeing signs that it's slowing, which I've done a few videos on. Nobody has a crystal ball, and I don't as well. I don't expect it to actually crash, but I would think that it's going to slow down and continue to slow down at very minimum for the next couple of months. I think there's a lot of buyer fatigue out there, and I think that people with the lockdowns ending really want to enjoy the summer. And I mean, you can't blame them. It definitely hasn't been easy on anybody. So I think a lot of people want to get out there, enjoy the outdoors, and not spend their time house hunting. With that said, once the summer's over and the students start returning and we get more of that upward pressure on rents with more and more demand for housing in London, then I expect the market to probably pick back up again. I don't think that will grow as much as we have been, but I definitely think the slowdown is going to be short-lived, and that we're likely to see everything start to pick back up a little bit more in the fall. With that said, only time will tell, and we'll have more updates as they come out. If you like this video and you want to receive those updates, please do click like and subscribe, and we'll have more updates for you as they're released. Thank you.